Christianity versus Islam. Which one is better for society?
Islam. Christianity. Islam!
I've been asking myself who actually wins these debates, and I think the honest answer is nobody, because the whole thing is rigged from the start. If you're Muslim, Sharia is obviously the correct answer. If you're Christian, it's Jesus and Western values. And if you're an atheist, well, it's secularism. But people keep doing these debates anyway. So let's watch one. Andrew Wilson.
Can you tell me what epistemology means?
Epistemology is the study of the epistles.
Versus Daniel Haqiqatjou.
Islam and human rights are in 100% agreement that women should be beaten. We only differ on who should do the beating.
Oh, this is going to go great.
My opponent, Andrew Wilson, claims to be a traditional Christian, but we'll see if he'll debate like a traditional Christian or like a blue-haired libtard.
This is genuinely clever. Andrew Wilson's whole brand is traditional values save civilization, patriarchy, hierarchy, anti-degeneracy, strong families, more babies, the whole package. But the problem is, those arguments become extremely dangerous when your opponent is Muslim, since they are way more traditional than Christians. Higher religious commitment, more conservative family structures, more resistance to secular liberalism, and higher birth rates. So Andrew can't use his usual traditionalism wins framework consistently because it starts pointing toward Islam instead of Christianity. In other words, he has to become the blue-haired libtard he usually attacks.
So he'll likely attack Islam exactly like a blue-haired alphabet person would by calling Islam backwards on marriage, gender roles, and scientific and economic progress. But if Andrew attacks Islam using secular liberal values, he faces a dilemma. Because tomorrow he's debating an atheist on whether Christianity or secular liberalism is better for society. So any pro-liberal standard that Andrew uses to judge Islam today, tomorrow that same liberal standard can be used by his atheist opponent to judge Christianity.
Okay, your turn, Andrew.
Now, let me get into my argument for why Christianity makes better societies than Islam, and it's pretty simple. Islamic societies breed an inbred population. Next slide, please. The most common type of inbreeding is first cousin marriage. The rates of first cousin marriage in comparison to Christian nations is staggeringly high, even in comparison to regions occupied by Arab Christians. Pakistan at 65%. 65%, meaning more likely than not, you're having sex with your cousin, and if you're not, you're the weird one.
And there it is. Andrew's basic argument is Islamic societies allow more cousin marriage. This can create negative outcomes. Therefore, Christianity produces better societies. And okay, cousin marriage can create real genetic problems over time. That part itself isn't the issue. The issue is the standard Andrew suddenly chooses, measurable societal performance. Because Andrew can never consistently use this framework against atheists. Since, according to the same studies he points to, atheists score higher on IQ tests than Christians. And Andrew knows this. Also, this argument falls apart against Muslims in two ways. First, Islam doesn't mandate cousin marriage, it just permits it. A Muslim society could discourage or even restrict cousin marriage tomorrow and still be entirely Muslim, just like they did with slavery, just like Christians did with slavery, eventually, after like 1,800 years. So this isn't actually an argument against Islam as a system, it's an argument against specific cultural practices in specific regions. Second, why do we automatically assume higher IQ means better society? You're very smart. Your society has high IQ. Still, you are lonely, anxious, addicted to dopamine apps, and paying $4,000 for a studio apartment. Meanwhile, a lower IQ society might have stronger families, less depression, and people who actually know their neighbors' names. And Daniel immediately hits the contradiction.
This falls into exactly what I predicted. You argued like a libtard. How? You're saying that success is on the basis of IQ. Well, how are you going to argue tomorrow when you debate with an atheist that Christian IQ is higher than secular atheist IQ? In fact, the atheist IQ is much higher than Christian IQ. So your entire standard for judging Islam applies just as much to Christianity. And tomorrow when you're debating the atheist, you'll have to concede that your Christian religion is associated or correlated with lower IQ. Therefore, atheism or secularism is better for society because it raises IQ.
Okay, back to you, Andrew.
Libtard value. Don't fuck your first cousin. Libtard. Now he says, well, if you value IQ more than all other values, who said anything about that? The debate is not about that. It's about which makes for better societies. Now, which society would you rather live in? Would you rather live in a society of donkey pull cart? That Christians have a much smarter enemy. You're right, they do have a high IQ. You need high IQ people to combat that with these values. Islam can make no inroads. They don't have the technology.
That Islam has no technology line is weirdly oversimplified, but we can ignore that. Andrew, clearly losing the debate here. IQ is no longer the measure of a better society. It's now just a tool to fight enemies. He also basically admits atheists have higher IQ, but then says, that's fine, because Christians are better equipped to fight them. The debate is not who wins a fight against atheists. The debate is what is better for society. If your answer is technology and high IQ people, and atheists have more of both, then you just argued for secularism. This is the contradiction Daniel keeps pressing, and Andrew never answers it. But Daniel also uses a weird argument for Islam.
Islam, by contrast, offers a comprehensive moral and legal framework that governs every dimension of life, individual conduct, family structure, community obligations, and social order. It does not merely tweak the secular liberal system, it represents a fundamentally different paradigm. And because Islam preserves a duty-based morality rather than dissolving it, it retains the internal resources to resist the liberal atomization and technological dehumanization.
His pitch is Sharia law. Do you realize who you're saying this to? You are telling Christians, people who had an actual functioning theocracy for over 1,000 years, that the solution to liberalism is a comprehensive religious legal framework that restricts heresy. They know. They invented that. It was called the Inquisition. And if you somehow convince Christians to go back to persecuting heretics and enforcing religious law, who do you think is first on the list? You are, Daniel. You're a heretic to them. So you're basically asking Christians to rebuild the machine that used to burn people like you at the stake. Christians don't need Sharia law for that. They've been doing it for centuries before Islam was invented. So at the end of all this, what's actually better for society, Christianity or Islam, completely depends on which one you already think is true. And if you don't think either is true, well, you're basically just watching two guys argue about whose Invisible Man's rulebook, written by ancient primitive men trying to understand the world with pre-scientific knowledge, is better for society. Which honestly was pretty entertaining.